Welcome, dear ones. Today we are practicing a fire element Qigong and Yin practice. So we're focusing on the meridians, which are the heart, the small intestine, the triple heater and the pericardium, all running through the arms. So a lot of upper body movement and fluidity through the arms to open in and around the heart space. The emotion is joy and overjoy, and the season is summer. The color is red. So let's do a little bit of warming up first and getting a little bit of fire going through the body. Nice little jiggles here. Let everything be jelly and take a little dance around. Just moving the lymphatic system and getting the blood pumping through the heart. Nice. And then slowly come back. Settle in and then placing the hands over the heart so you can feel the beat of your own heart. They call the heart the emperor, the overseer of all other organs in Chinese medicine. So when the heart is clouded or guarded or imbalanced in some way, then it affects every other system and organ in the body. That's why we focus so much on the heart and softening into the heart. So just feeling that energy and that blood pumping through the body. And we'll come into some nice little warm-ups first, taking the feet about hip-width apart. And we come into our nice little swings, keeping the upper body nice and stable. Knees and hips tracking forward, upper body swinging from side to side, relaxing the shoulders. So each of the vertebrae also are associated to the organs, and the heart is in the thoracic spine. So we might find that we have a bit of tension through the back of the shoulder blades, and the small intestine travels through also and through the back of the shoulder. So there's a few really potent points to focus on in those areas to release shoulder pain and discomfort through the upper body, and also release that stagnation that we may hold through around the heart. And come back to center, and let's sweep out these meridians through the upper body. So the heart begins in the armpit. We travel down to the pinky, flip over, small intestine comes up and finishes on the side here. And we sweep down nice and gentle with these ones. And just visualizing that stream of energy. The pericardium, part protector, streams through the inside to the middle finger, and then the triple heater is the middle finger finishing on the side of the eye. So we can stream down there as well. Just mapping out these meridians, and then give everything a bit of a shake. We'll shake our fingertips because they're, starting or ending in the fingertips. So it's good to get those joints, knuckles moving, and the energy streaming and moving through your fingertips. So a little bouncing up here. So energy towards the heavens. So it's a very heavenly energy for the fire element. It's about the Shen, which is connected to the heart, and our consciousness out to the side, out to the front, and moving any energy that you no longer need goes to the earth as we bounce down. Can come up onto the ball of the foot as well. Let's do another couple of rounds, shaking the energy out to the side, to the front, and down below. Nice. One more. Out, front, and back to the earth. And again, just take a pause here and feel into the energy that's streaming through these meridians, through the hands and shoulders, and all through the arm lines. You might feel little tingles or this kind of vibratory energy, pulsation. Sometimes you can feel cool or warmth. Any kind of movement is good to break free of those stagnant areas and held tension in the body. Nice. And now we're going to bring our hands behind our back, clasp, and keep your palms together. Find a nice stable position for the lower body and the feet, nice and grounded. And then it could just be a little movement, rolling the shoulder blades down and back, squeezing them together and lifting the heart and the chest. And remember to breathe here. If it feels okay, you can come back a little bit further. So just do a few rounds of this stretch here. And you may be able to come into a back bend. Pressing the hips forward. And release. And do that one more time. You want to bring as much, again, openness through the fascia and the tissue through the front of the body, and then squeezing any stagnant energy through the back of the body, through that extension. Let's do that again. Take a breath in and exhale. And release. Nice. Again, just take a little bit of a shake out. And now warming into the shoulders a little bit more. So take some nice rounding movements through the shoulders. You can bring the hips into this movement a little bit here. So crouching down, warming into the hips. And just kind of fluidly moving a little bit more through the spine. Shoulders can come up to the ears. It can be a nice slow movement as you tune inward, close the eyes and just let your body kind of flow, focusing on these areas. Shoulders, chest, heart, expanding through the front body, and also getting into some of those different planes of movement through the spine. So the fire element is a little bit more wild in nature. As we know, when we observe fire, it's a little unpredictable with where it goes. It does not like to go in a straight line. So think about that when you're moving your body and your spine. Go in all directions. And just give yourself permission to get a little bit wild and fiery with this movement. Go at your own pace, but no one's watching. And even if someone was watching, I'm sure they would be very intrigued and attracted to this kind of movement, because it feels really beautiful when you give yourself a little bit more freedom and not moving in mechanical ways, up, down, forward, back. The spine wants to move in spirals in every direction. Also being mindful of any injuries, any sensitivities. So keep going, and again, pretending that you are that wild fire in nature. Nice. Beautiful. And then let's come back to the center. Nice, lovely Qigong warm-up position is to open the arms right up out to the side. So we want to maintain that solid position through the lower body. Come out like gold post arms like this, fists together, squeezing into those meridian channels through the fingers. Open up nice and wide, a little extension, so lots of openness through the chest. And then as we exhale, we draw the arms inward and round, scoop out the belly and push through the area of the kidneys through the lower back. Inhale, smiling bright up towards the sun. The sun is the fire element, bringing warmth and energy. These are some of the qualities. Light and bright, wild and free. Fire doesn't like to be contained. It needs to breathe. It needs to be free. Take your deep breath in and then exhale, curl it in. Nice. Let's do one more of those. One more big round. Maybe a little pause at the top. Squeeze, squeeze, and then exhale. Curling and rounding, pulling the shoulders down, pressing out through the lower back, and releasing. Nice, again, just taking a little bit of movement, more freedom, more movement in between all of these shapes that we create today. Nice, a little bit of wave through the spine. And another one is that they say that there's a second heart in the calf. So we work a little bit into the calf muscles. This one is bringing a bit of movement through the upper body again with the hands, traveling through those meridians. So feet hip width apart here. We come up onto the ball of the foot and the hands rise up, and then exhale, they come down and back. So we lift up, exhale down. Breath in. Exhale to sweep down. Nice, and you can do that really slowly, coming right up, pretending that you're wearing stilettos. See if you can balance, and then with control, slowly landing back. So do a couple of those in slow-mo. Whoop. Exhale. One more. Pause. Exhale, coming down. Nice. Beautiful. Let's learn a couple of these qigongs for the fire element. And we'll come in and open the kwa first. So taking those hip width apart stance, knees bent, you can see the toes. Sacrum down to the earth. Nice and loose, fluid, relaxed through the upper body. Hands in the starting position, grounding the energy down. And let's spin the pinkies around the top of that barrel. And then draw the energy back into the lower dantian. Find either the gaze straight ahead, or if you need to look down at your palms just to get the movement. Nice, elbows always stay bent. We're not reaching. It's a small movement, small circle here in front of the lower dantian. And here we work on the balloon breathing, imagining that you have that balloon in the center of your belly. Still fingers are relaxed, wrists are soft. And the balloon is breathing up evenly through the center of the body, through the upper body, expanding outward. Exhale is the softening inward. Nice, and let's pause now. Come into balancing energy of yin and yang, Tai Chi hands. Transition from more of this yang energy, palms facing down, a little bit more activity, but still passivity. And then we transition into nice yin floppy hands when we bring the arms up. A little gentle flick, and imagining that you're just guiding that balloon softly down. It's weightless, almost weightless. So imagining that the hands, that transition again from the wrists, slowly pressing down. We sweep the inhale as we rise, the hands up, elbows stay in. Hands become floppy at shoulder height and slowly press down. The hands are facing down now. So do a few of those, finding that soft drishti gaze. And perhaps you can actually sense into the subtle energy around you, the field of energy that's within you, that's everywhere, in everything, and connects us all through this invisible fabric, perhaps, that's always there. And when you tap into this subtle energy, perhaps you can begin to actually see that. Perhaps you can begin to feel it. And one more. Grounding the energy down. We now come into a beautiful qigong. It's a lotus flowering, very simple. Creating this lotus flower, so pinky together, heart meridian, and the thumb, which is the lung, connecting the lung and the heart here, which have a beautiful relationship, the heart and the lung, and also the fire and the metal, opposites, contrast in energy, but working together in synergy. So we bring the lotus to the heart. We maintain our stance. If you need to lift out of your knees and take a break, you can do so, but remembering to sink down and ground the energy down. So we inhale, lift the lotus up, and then slowly trickling down, it blooms. We inhale, connect pinky, thumb, create our lotus. We draw it up, you follow your fingertips, reaching for the stars, reaching for the sun, and then blooming. We all know the story of the lotus growing out of the muddy waters, growing out of the shadows, out of the depth of darkness, and births this beautiful, gorgeous, radiating flower, just like when we move through these difficult situations and challenges in life, there's often this beautiful gift and flowering that comes off that challenging part. Something beautiful grows and blooms and touches the hearts of others, and we share our experience. So we inhale, rise, trickling, blooming, and the head comes back to center. Let's do one more of those. And then grounding the energy back down. Nice. A little variation on a beautiful qigong called parting clouds. Now we begin arms down by the side. We always have a gap underneath the armpits here. The first part is inhaling up, exhaling, turning the palms, Inhale, drawing the pinkies together, imagining that you're holding two plates. And then exhale, we flip the palms around towards the heart. They come out and they part the clouds. There's a tiny little lift and opening, and we come back to starting point. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So that's really slowing it down and working on those breath movements with connection. So the idea is here we are opening up the sunshine, parting the clouds away, knowing that the sun is always there beneath the clouds, beneath the darkness. And we're providing that light to shine bright through the clouds. And again, it's revealing that underneath those shadow aspects, underneath the darkness, underneath the sadness, the grief, all of those perhaps darker emotions that we may feel from time to time, there's always light to be revealed. There's always a gift inside. And sometimes we just need to make a little effort to part the clouds out of the way to allow that light to shine through. Beautiful. Let's do one more of those. And release, grounding the energy down, taking a pause, lifting out of the knees if you need to. Nice. Give yourself a little lift from, just pour a little bit of weight from side to side. You can place the hands on the lower dantian here. Beautiful. And we have one more, which is a bit of a combination maybe of those two movements as we bring a bit more fluidity into extension and flexion of the spine to create that space in the front and the back. So it's a little bit to get used to this one. We take the lotus here again, and I'm going to show from the side so we can get the movement. We start with the lotus and then we draw the hands out. The back of the palms touch, or almost touch, just feeling that little field of energy there. And then they flip and create the lotus. So it's kind of like a reverse movement almost. And then we get this wave happening. So we can slow it down. So when we get to the lotus, we have a nice extension of the spine. So a real lift of the chest. And when we come out and around, pinkies, back of the palms, pressing through the back door of the heart here. So we want to spread all this tissue nice and wide through the back of the heart. And then we draw the hands inward, flip into our lotus, and then it becomes that extension. Again, we maintain that bend in the knees always, and you can just play around with a little bit of waving also. It can become a little bit more of play and movement, of even adding another wave. And you can just, again, get a little bit wild and not have to follow the rules here. Fire element doesn't appreciate rules so much. It likes to move in its own way. So you can play around with this movement and make it a little bit of your own. Again, the idea is to bring that opening, stretching and removing that tension around the front of the body, and then also through the back there. Slowing it down again. Smiling. You don't have to get it perfect. Relaxing the shoulders. Nice. Let's do one more. And come back to center. Grounding the energy down. Good. We're going to journey down to the mat now. So if you have your block, bolster, book, or whatever you have at home for a little bit of support if you need it, yoga blanket maybe. And let's just come down in a nice forward fold here, just releasing through the back body. So you can slide your hands down. You can come into a bit of a ragdoll position here, clasping the elbows. Take a couple of deep breaths, bend the knees as much as you need to here. Release any tension through the lower back. And then we'll gently come down, walking the fingertips out, bringing the knees down. Now our first position is a toe tuck with some arm variations. So you can always put blankets underneath your bum if you can't take so much pressure backward. We can also come forward on a bolster here or some support. We'll take eagle arms now. So again, you can always lean forward like this to give yourself a little bit of less pressure on the toes. So we want to spread the pinky toe even out to the side, creating space there. Have something in front of you just in case. And let's inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhale, right arm underneath the left. See if you can bind, or you might just have to hold your own hands here. Or if you can, you get your palms and fingertips together. So we're going to stretch up and out here, a little bit more active. It's not going to be a long hold. So we do the best we can. The shoulders are still relaxed down, but there's a little lift up and out rather than pulling down. Find your balloon breath here. Deepen the breath. Fill up from lower belly, midsection, chest, lungs spreading wide, filling up and softening on each exhalation. Releasing the neck if you need to give your neck a little bit of movement. And again, you can always come down with the arms and take the pressure off the toes if it feels like that's a little bit much for you. Always making it your own, creating your own shape based on the purpose of the posture. We're here to open and squeeze into those meridian channels through the arms, and obviously open the toes. And we'll just take a few more breaths here. And slowly unwrap. It's called rainbow toes because there's 6 meridian channels either beginning and starting in the toes. Just let your toes float. Feel the energy moving. Again, you can feel those little pulsations or just kind of even numbness, tingling. It's all perfectly fine. It's the adaptation of the tissues unless it feels like something different, which is the discernment of the small intestine. It's about discerning what is pure and impure and processing that. And we can tell when it's good pain or relatively bad pain, when we feel sharpness or something that you know just doesn't feel right. So always tuning in and listening to your body. Let's tap the tops of the feet down now. And now to do the other side of the arm, we're going to come into an ankle stretch. So that's why it's nice to have a block or a bolster, because you can just shimmy and put your knees up. If you can, elevate your knees. Otherwise, you can do this just from this kind of Japanese seat here, if that feels like your limit. And always using props if you need to protect your knees. Putting something underneath your hips is good. But if that feels all right, huddle yourself forward. Rest your knees on something. Might not be as high as a bolster, but just see what feels good for you. And then we inhale the arms up. And we place the left arm underneath the right this time, interlacing or clasping the hands wherever you can get to, lifting a little bit up and out in this posture. Nice, deep, full breaths here. And again, we're releasing and squeezing all those tissues, the inside and the outside of the arms. Allowing the energy to flow more freely. So the fire element is more related to the energy body. The Shen, the spirit. And one way to bring the energy down, some of that heavenly scattered Shen energy, when we're feeling anxious or the mind just cannot slow down. One practice is to stimulate these points through the wrists. So you can hold your wrists. We've got the heart 7 point on the wrist crease where the pinky is on the inside of the wrist. And that brings the energy down. We ground the Shen into the body, into the earth. And let's take a few more deep breaths here. Slowly unwrap yourself. Take a really slow movement. Rest the palms perhaps first. And then you can bring your prop away and take a pause there. I love this practice so much because it teaches us the power of the pause, the pausing in between, not rushing into the next activity, not rushing into the next to-do, and just appreciating and soaking up all the nutrients of the experience, absorbing it and then moving on. So our next posture, if you've got a prop of some kind, which would be recommended here, I will use the bolster. You can also do this without a prop or a blanket, or if you don't have anything at home with you. It's kind of like a child's pose with the knees out wide and resting the hands and the arms on something that's a bit more elevated, so it gives you more of this pulling sensation of the tissues through the arms. And we're going to rest in that position. So just change it if you need to. If you've got any pinching in the shoulders or something niggly going on, you might have to take your arms quite wide or bend your elbows. So just take a few moments to fiddle around and find where you can hold this posture for at least a few minutes in stillness. You can rest the head down or on a block. So it's more of kind of this hammocking in. You might just have to shuffle around a little bit. And it shouldn't be a super strong sensation. If it is, you've come too far. We want to come to about 60 or 70% in our yin postures. So just being mindful of, we are doing our best to relax all of the tissues and to not try to get somewhere, or there's no end goal. It's feeling into sensation and allowing, accepting and embracing. Soften into the back of the shoulders, into the armpits. And breathe far and wide into the belly, into the chest, into the side, into the back body. And if you're visual, you can imagine that you've got that balloon right in the center, and it's pushing out lightly in all directions as you breathe in, and as you exhale, you soften, and the air gently releases out. And so focus on breathing softness in and around the heart, expanding through the pericardium, which is that sac that protects the heart, the fascia around the heart. And with the breath, we have the ability to soften into those tensile tissues that can be a little contracted. Breathing the fire element, the warmth into these areas. Notice if there's any holding in these parts, the shoulders, the neck, maybe even the inner creases of your hips. And breathing into that space. And we're going to slowly come out of this shape now, releasing the arms down. You can press your prop out of the way, keep it nearby, and we'll very slowly move on to the belly. Taking some time to get there and taking a pause at the bottom, relaxing the arms down by the side. Our next posture is called open wing, otherwise referred to broken wing. Just give yourself a little wriggle now. And this one, there's two options. We can have our arms straight out from our shoulder, lying down. I'm just going to wriggle out here a little bit. So my arm is straight out, it's laying down. My left ear will be on the mat, right fingertips right next to the chest here, lifting through the right leg, bending the knee, and coming into this twist. Now we might have to make a few variations with this top leg if it doesn't reach the ground. You can pop a pillow or a bolster in between your legs. And you might just have to move your arm up or down to get the right area, or spider walk your fingers out further to give yourself a little bit of space in and around the front of the pectoral muscles here. So this arm, this right palm, can be pressing in to give you a little bit more of a twist, or it can be quite relaxed. So it just depends on your body, and again, finding a nice position for that top leg. You want to feel an opening through the left side of your shoulder and the front muscles around the chest there. So always exploring a little bit and then finding your sweet spot, coming into stillness, closing the eyes and having that more inward journey of forgetting about what is outside externally, and we draw the attention inward into these parts of ourself that are speaking to us. Or perhaps they've been communicating and niggling a little for a while, and we have perhaps ignored them or not listened. And now when we take time to really be with the body, to observe, to be still, to unwind, we can pay attention to those conversations that want to be heard beneath the skin, and we can give them space. We can let them be breathed. We can acknowledge them. and therefore dissolve them and resolve them. It's all about awareness. And we'll take our last few breaths here. And slowly adjusting and coming out of this shape, turning onto the belly again. You could take your palms and place them down and just rest your head. And we'll take a little Sphinx pose in between here, placing the elbows down underneath the shoulders, palms out, forearms down. So that would be option one, and you're nice and soft through the back body. Just a few breaths here. If you feel like you can go further in extension in this back bend, you can press through your palms and straighten your arms, and then soften your butt cheeks. And then if you feel like you can go further, you can walk your hands in, so you can just stay in one of those other options. Or to really get into these meridians through the arms, we come into flipping the palms, the fingertips towards the feet. And we can stack in this position. That's not available for everyone, obviously, so you just take it to wherever you feel comfortable. Again, a little jiggle through the back body and the glutes. We'll just take about 5 breaths in any of those variations. Nice deep, full breaths, counting for about 4 as you inhale and 4 as you exhale. And let's slowly come on down. Just place your right ear to the mat, arms down by the side, nice and jelly-like through the back body. And let's set up for our open wing on the other side. So right arm comes out this time, left fingertips right on the side. And let's press through the left palm and fingertips to create that twist, taking your variation, whatever you need to do with that top leg, if you need that support, or if you need to slightly change the movement, the direction of where the arm is placed. Spider walking those fingertips and creating that space around the armpit is always good. And again, we want to feel that sensation of the arm lightly pulling and the fascia stretching through the inner arm, armpit, pectoral, chest area. Couple of deep breaths to settle in and then finding your stillness. And we find the fullness in the emptiness. This is the spirit of the Shen. And the purpose of the practice is to become empty. And to move from that place. To move throughout life with the beginner's mind. Through the eyes of a child, with joy, with curiosity, with lightness, with non-judgment. That's the spirit of the fire element, the spirit of the heart. Let's take our last few breaths here. And slowly rolling forward again. Resting the arms down by the side. Pausing. Absorbing. Let's slowly come up. And turn over to the back. And if you have your pillow or bolster, you want to bring that, so we're going to lay backwards into a reclined butterfly. So this can be done without a bolster as well. You can just lay flat on your back if that's better. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees splaying out wide, but more of a diamond shape rather than pulling the feet up. We want to bring them out and spread them towards the end of the mat, creating a lot more space, and then slowly rolling back with a bolster or a pillow right up against your hips or any other variation you need to take, and then letting the arms down by the side, palms facing up, allowing everything to be really heavy. You can also explore with the arms out wide, again encouraging this release of the tissue around those heart meridian, small intestine, pericardium, and triple heater. Few deep, big breaths into the chest, lifting the heart, and then softening back into the mat, into the bolster. And we just rest the awareness now in the center of the heart. And taking an inner smile to the heart. We invoke more joy, compassion, and intuitive wisdom that comes from the heart, that resides in the heart. And we dissolve hastiness, impatience, and hatred as we open and soften the heart. We bring more of those beautiful fire element qualities: joy, compassion, intuitive wisdom. And we allow ourselves to be guided by this intuitive wisdom. We come out of the thinking mind and move, speak, act from the heart. And bringing some deep breaths back into the body. Lifting far and wide again with the front body. And we'll slowly bring ourselves upright, so turning the palms, tucking the chin slightly and just slowly sitting up. Take a pause here. Soften the belly, soften the shoulders. I'm just going to take a cross-leg position or any meditation position that feels good for you. If you want to sit up on the bolster, if you want to lay down, we're going to finish off with the inner smile meditation. So let's find our seat, soften through the body, the shoulders, feathering the nest, grounding the sit bones. And beginning with the Emperor of the Heart, and we end with the heart as well. So placing the hands over the heart. We breathe into the heart, we smile into the heart, we visualize this red color of energy softening around the heart. So we dissolve hastiness, impatience, hatred. We invite, we bring in, we invoke joy, compassion, and intuitive wisdom. We smile into the heart. We bring gratitude and appreciation for all the heart does. Pumping the blood through the body, assisting and supporting every other system and organ. And breathing some love and appreciation to the heart. We move to the stomach and the spleen, which is on the left side underneath the rib cage. We breathe into the spleen, the vital organ. We visualize the color yellow, golden healing light. And we dissolve overthinking, worrying, self-doubt. We bring in, we encourage, we invoke balance, empathy, and trust. And thanking the spleen for assisting in digestion, for transportation, transformation of food essences to the blood. And we bring in gratitude for the spleen, the earth element. And now we place the hands over the lungs, the metal element. The lungs, the vital organ, we visualize this pure, angelic, bright, white light covering the lungs and over the heart, imagining the lungs as great big angel wings. And we dissolve sadness, grief, and we bring in, we invoke courage, resilience, and strength. Breathing into the lungs, gratitude and appreciation for breathing us into life. And then we bring the hands to the back, the kidneys, the color is blue, visualizing a color blue vibrating around the kidneys, left and right. Breathing into the kidneys, the vital organ of the water element. And we dissolve distrust, fear, and we bring in more presence, intelligence, and gentleness. We let go of fear. We bring in presence, gentleness, Breathing into the kidneys, smiling into the kidneys, for giving us this vital essence of life. Thanks and appreciation and gratitude. And we come to the wood element, the liver. And the gallbladder, the liver, the vital organ, the color is green. Breathing in this luminous green healing light to the liver. Breathing into the liver, creating space, awareness, and dissolving impatience, dissolving anger and frustration, and bringing in, encouraging, invoking more kindness and generosity. Giving thanks and gratitude to the liver for all the liver does, detoxifying the body and assisting in all the other bodily processes. Softening into stillness with the liver. And then coming back to the heart and sealing the practice in love, gratitude, appreciation for the wisdom, for the practice for bringing us back home to the body. The light in me sees the light in you, and the teacher in me honors the teacher in you. Namaste.